The Bible said concerning Abraham, God himself was speaking in Genesis 18, and he said, shall I do a thing without consulting my servant Abraham? That is influence. When heaven has an agenda, your name is part of that agenda. In Genesis 32 verse 28, the Bible was speaking, and it said concerning Jacob, it said, your name shall no more be called Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince, thou hast power with God and has prevailed. So what is influence? Number one is to have power with God, is to be relevant in God's agenda. Listen, there are many people walking on the face of the earth today. Heaven is not aware that they are here because they don't play any part in what God is doing. God can fulfill an agenda for a whole dispensation and a whole generation. They are not aware God is doing anything because they are not relevant in God's agenda. And so the first definition of influence is to be relevant with God. Don't be popular among men and not be popular in the spirit realm. Let your name be heard in heaven. When the angel came to salute Mary, he said, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed art thou among women. So there are many women, but you stand out. There are many women on the face of the earth, you stand out. There are many virgins, you stand out. There are men who have power with God. There are men that heaven is watching over. There are men that the jealousy of God is upon. For such men to die, God can give up a nation. For such men to die, God can bypass 1 million people to reach out to them, because their existence is not about breath on their nostrils. They represent God's agenda on the face of the earth. There are many revivals that will die if certain men die. And so those men represent that move of God. How many of you read about Simeon in Luke chapter 2? The Bible said this guy was tired of living, but he couldn't die. He literally prayed to die, but he will not die. You know why? If he dies, Jesus won't come. Because he was the only ranking intercessor at the time that was preparing the womb of the Spirit for the unveiling of the Christ. Immediately Jesus was presented in the temple, his prayer was not, thank God that I have achieved something. He said, now my soul can depart in peace, for my eyes have seen the salvation of the Lord. So salvation came because Simeon was on the altar. Even if Simeon went to heaven, God will send him back. If you leave earth, who can bet Christ? The virgin is not the mother, she's just a container through which Christ came. You are the intercessor that will create the protocol of incarnation. Incarnation is a spiritual protocol. Incarnation is not a biological protocol. We need a virgin to avail her womb, but there is an intercessor that must pay the price for God to become man. That kind of man cannot die. The guy wanted to die, but he couldn't. There are men that can beat their chest and tell you, God knows I'm important. It's not pride, but it's because of what himself said. He said, as a prince, thou hast power with God and hast prevailed. This is not a man talking out of loftiness. This is breaking news from heaven.